how a person can have a behavior like that.
Doug Emerson is one of the neighbors who broke the news to the elderly couple. He noticed that when Hank and Helen were out on Sundays with their grandson, realtors would be showing the house to potential buyers. Emerson did some digging and discovered the grandson the couple loved dearly was selling the house without their knowledge. Not only was the house for sale, all the equity was gone.
To the extent I wanted to commit suicide at one time because it's just too much. Too much.
Losing the house is incredibly painful for this couple in their 80s, but it's how they lost the house that hurts the most.
The person who stole this copper wire, he was dressed up like he worked for a power company and he knew exactly what he was doing. He had the tools, in and out in less than 15 minutes. Just outside Juanita's Mexican kitchen,
these are all the wires that we put back in there.
Co-owner Miguel Nunez showed us the small pieces of plastic left behind from where those copper-filled cables were ripped out of the ground.
He had all the tools that he needed. He knew what he was doing.
In security camera video from a neighboring business, you can see the alleged thief appears to be dressed as a legitimate utility worker. At first, he uses that long pole to work on the transformer.
And from there, he went to his truck and turned off the power, started beating the PVC pipe casing with a hammer.
Then he uses a saw to get to the cables and the copper inside.
You can see the guy, he just grabs his truck, pulls the wires from the ground, and just goes with them.
The incident, shutting off the power here for days, delaying the restaurant's long-planned move from their old location to this new one. Nunez says it's not the first time either.
I was like, really, again? Because it's been the second time it's happened.
The person who stole
Because of the election, I won't date these kinds of men.
That's your line.
Israel and Hezbollah exchanged heavy fire until the very last moment. But from early this morning, the skies were quiet for the first time in more than a year. Despite official warnings that it's still too dangerous to go home, thousands of displaced Lebanese strapped their belongings onto their cars and headed south, almost as quickly as they'd fled the violence. Mohammed Al-Arni returned with his family to this, peace in his city and the knowledge he's lost everything. As long as we're safe, he said, possessions can always be replaced. Across the border, Israelis evacuated from the north in Kiryat Shmona were also reeling from the losses of war.
This home was hit just last night, a couple of hours before that ceasefire came into effect. Even as we entered the city, we heard 2 outgoing explosions. People are worried here that the truce won't hold.
Oshri and Yuval Levy haven't been home for over a year. They've come to pack up their things and never return. I don't want to raise my children here, Yuval said. I'm scared to stay at home alone with them. Nothing is over, said Oshri. Hezbollah can come back at any minute. There is distrust on both sides. It's going to be a tense 60-day wait to see if the ceasefire holds.
This deal has revived hope for a Gaza ceasefire, but Nancy, a former Israeli military intelligence officer told us he's convinced Israel will not be leaving the Palestinian territory for a very long time.
Deborah Patta in Israel tonight. Thank you.
Israel and Hezbollah exchanged